Good morning.
Good morning.
Day 2 of Frostbite 2017. This is the PG Stats Analyst Test, joined with
Keitaro time. Let's go.
New Age Rod the Dutch here.
and Panda Global Suar. This is the PG Stats Analyst Test. We're going to go ahead and contextualize what happened yesterday, what happened at the end of yesterday, and what's going to happen today. We got some content prepared for you covering the top 32 winner side of things. There were some crazy upsets yesterday, notably in what we remember as some of the MDVA Japanese slang, but there were some other things as well that happened that we're going to cover, as well as sort of putting into context who's going against who, okay? Personalities, storylines, and also a little bit of the character matchups that we've known and come to love after seeing some of these high-level profile people play these characters to the best of their ability. We're going to go ahead and break into not only, like I said, those top 32 winner side, but also the set counts and just who's going to go against who. So going ahead and getting started, how do you guys feel about today? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, if it's anything like yesterday, I expect a lot of explosions. And I mean, I say explosions on some Quentin Tarantino type stuff. There might be even more upsets on the radar for us. But, you know, who knows? I mean, I'm just the guy in the crowd at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I do think that we'll see things not be exactly how it was last year. A lot of people have changed. You know, there's some players who were more consistent last year who this year are slipping up a little bit.
They're getting challenged. People are catching up.
Exactly. So I don't think it'll be exactly how one would expect. So I would like to actually look at, a lot of these matches and try to predict who's going to win, what's going to happen between this player playing this player, or what would happen after that player wins. Who would he possibly fight next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with the bracket looking the way it does, I mean, even after the round 1 of this top 32, it just gets more and more ridiculous. It doesn't get, no one's getting floated at all to grand finals. And so up here we have the top 32 winner side, okay? So we have 16 individuals here. The other 16 are on the loser side, which are not featured at the moment. Starting from the top, we have TSM0 against Ned, followed by DeBuzz against Ken, Energy Nairo against In Control Wadi, Rival Mr. E against Captain Zack, Echo Fox and VGM Leo against DNG Kameme. That's going to be a juicy one. CLG Void against Sue, and In Control Seagull Joe against Shuton, and 2GG Komori Kiri against MVG Salem. All of these, okay, all of these have the ability to be able to take the tournament, at least with a greater chance of the people that aren't featured here. I mean, there are some of the people that were in red that were actually placing above their seating, okay? Not placing, but going in and above their seating. We had Seagull Joe, notably, who beat T yesterday. And then with the upsets that were caused in his pool, he made it out, and he's in winner side now. Similar to Mr. E, Abadango got upset by Black Yoshi from MDVA, Bayonetta. And now Mr. E, who is the second seed in that pool, to Abadango, is now above his seed in winner side. He was supposed to start in loser side. So again, now we have these these weren't supposed to happen, now they're happening. How do we deal with that, So starting from the top, Zero and Ned. I mean, Zero's been very consistent this season. I mean, just talking about the only S-tier event that's happened this year, Genesis, he did place third at that. He won it the year before. He placed third this year. But then both of the two GGCs, he's taken them both. He has like 100 points. The next person has like 80, which is...
Wow. That's
no, not 80. I believe like the tweet went out, like D1 sent it. Like he has 100 and like the 10th person has like 10.
Like, that's a huge difference.
Like the gap is kind of representative of what, the 2015 days were like.
He had a really strong start. I know some of the events didn't have all the players you'd expect to be there, but Civil War coming up will have pretty much, I believe, like 40 plus of the PGR. So we'll see if he's able to still take first at that.
Exactly. I mean, both of the two GGCs registered as A-tier events. I mean, they had... The first one, Genesis Saga, had 466 people. The second Saga had 331. I mean, people showed up. And then, of course, the talent showed up because in the first Saga, or the first two GGC for Genesis Saga, 17 PGR went. 8 of them were top 20. And then for Midwest Mayhem Saga, 14 went, and half of them were top 20. Compared to today, where we have at Frostbite, we have 23 PGR members that showed up with the cancellations of ESAM and Larry Lur and Anti. I don't know if Anti registered, but at last minute he decided not to go. And 16 of them are top 20. So we have a good amount of the top 20 here today. So this event is stacked, and this is, again, another 8-tier event. But like we were talking before, Zero did take both of the 2 GCs very confidently, very convincingly, and he's up against Ned, you know. And Ned had a good showing at Midwest Mayhem Saga as well, because Ned placed 4th, however,
Very good showing.
65th
Yes,
at
he did
Genesis
very
4.
good. He beat a lot of people that I think they weren't expecting him to beat. For example,
Void.
Yeah, Void's a good example. And I believe it made almost the entire top 4 of that event be pretty much Cloud besides Zero. It was
Zero, Cloud.
yeah. So some people were saying, "Oh, is Cloud too strong?" But you know, it's just one tournament. Might not happen every single time.
Just one.
But yeah, he did fantastically well, and we've been hearing a lot of good things about Ned from Nightwing. He strongly believes in Ned. He thinks Ned of Limit is a completely different person from Ned without Limit.
Rod can tell you, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to see if he's able to get his limit and fight Zero. Maybe, who knows, go even.
Absolutely. And what's so fantastic about Ned is that he just brings this stylized aggression that I've never seen, like, ever before. And it's really interesting to watch how other top players deal with that, because every Cloud is played differently. You know, some Clouds play more like that campy defensive style. Some like to kind of dance around you, like MK Leo and Como. But Ned, I mean, he really just sticks it to you. And it seems like a lot of top players are a little fish out of water with that complex.
Yeah, and as we saw in the graphic, they do have a 0-0 set count for 2017. So now with this newfound sort of, you know, talent and this just like channeling his aggression, you know, we have the patient and cerebral Zero. You know, once you're on edge, it's his game. And then you have the agile and cerebral Ned. His mind games, his just trippiness when he approaches you and he weaves in and out, keeps a lot of players on their toes. And that's how he succeeds in getting you off the stage and then taking your stock. So, I mean, that's definitely going to be a match that will push Ned into those upper echelons that we've been talking about, that I want to say Midwest Mayhem Saga wasn't a fluke, okay? I want to say that Genesis was a fluke, right? That he got 65th at that, and that wasn't his best showing. But the 4th at Midwest Mayhem Saga to be supplemented by a good showing today, which is really, like, just cement his place, where I think he's, like, you know, not 50th anymore, at least in the eyes of a lot of people.
Definitely. He could be going really far, especially if he takes out Zero. Oh, he might be top 20, top 30 at that point from that alone, but we'll find out what happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in the next set, after Zero and Ned, we, of course, have we're going to have a set which features 2 players, DeBuzz and Ken. Okay, and DeBuzz being, of course, you know, Renegade's DeBuzz, he's the patient, and, you know, I don't know if you take Olimar against Ken, because Ken's wild. Ken's Sonic is just wild. Ken did very well at Tokaigi, getting 2nd only to Nairo. Ken, of course, with the Sonic that has blistering tech, blistering offensive capabilities, and, you know, DeBuzz who's a little bit more, I'm controlling the match, I'm controlling the pace, okay? And I think that with DeBuzz having the showing that he had at Genesis, you know, of course, despite, you know, whatever happened in top 8, he did place 7th at Genesis. A top 8 at an S-tier major is nothing to sneeze at, right? And of course, he did top 8 at Tokaigi as well, getting 7th, okay? 13th at 2GGC Genesis Saga sets up DeBuzz pretty well this season so far. And I think against Ken, when you look at the 2 players, their 2 play styles, I mean, Ken and DeBuzz, they're, you know, they have no set history this year so far, okay?
That is true. They have fought before.
Yeah, they have fought before.
Yeah, and it was kind of, if I recall, a stomp in Ken's favor, but this is a new year.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
DeBuzz will actually take out, you know, the Olimar.
when DeBuzz visited, I mean, it was insane. And I think that with his, you know, like just coming back into it, DeBuzz really needs to push it, because he's been always like forgotten when they're doing top 10 seeds at any major. But DeBuzz is so consistent.
Yeah,
and
he's
you
very
know,
good.
His dip at 13th this year so far. I mean, that's you know, it could be better, but again, like, he is rising. He's staying right on the cusp of where he needs to be.
Absolutely. And DeBuzz, one thing I've always really appreciated about him is that he wears his emotions on his sleeves. Like, when he's feeling it, this man can take over the world. But when he's off, he'll let you know, and sometimes the results will show it.
Yeah.
You can actually see it in just looking at him. You'll see him smiling really hard. If he's confident, he's like,
Yeah. Smiley DeBuzz is a good DeBuzz.
If he's stressed, he's like,
Yeah.
you can see it every time.
And of course, into the next match, each of these matches are just so hotly contested, like just so ridiculous. Already having, Nairo and Wadi. And the thing about Nairo and Wadi is that Nairo is just all out, and Wadi just really enjoys taking his time and ruining you. Like, he likes making your options look like the bad ones by conditioning you into doing the things that you normally wouldn't. But Nairo's so unpredictable, I just wonder how that's going to be handled. Just because of the fact that, again, like, Nairo is just very in your face the entire time.
100% aggressive. I can see Wadi having trouble, but Wadi likes to play quite patient. I've seen him run around and be very tricky, disappearing, etc. If Nairo gets one of those reads against this character, it'll be really tough for Wadi, especially since Mewtwo, again, second lightest character in the game. Zero Suit Samus, a lot of times able to get early KOs off the top. Wadi's just going to have to be careful from being hit from above, or how he lands.
Or add a shield up B, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So with them this year as well, they haven't interacted at a major event. They do have a 0-0 set count. We are early in the season, and many of these players are ready to prove themselves with these events that are now coming up with, of course, like the next S-tier event being Civil War. These are their like chances to get that last those last sets in before those high-profile events. Okay, and then of course Mr. E, going in above and beyond his seed, who took the place of Abadango, who of course got upset, going against Captain Zach, the fabulous Captain Zach.
That's rough. I did hear Mr. E say he has trouble against Bayonetta. When he had to fight Black Yoshi, he said, "Is the Bayonetta curse going to affect me again at another national?" And he was able to take out Black Yoshi. So once again, new year, new times. Mr. E might be able to actually take out Captain Zach. Captain Zach had a fantastic showing at the last Genesis, I believe. Yeah, he's very tricky and explosive. I like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like focus on that in the moment. Like, that's like almost an understatement, because Captain Zach is just a stunt queen. Like, he is just so ridiculous when it comes to what he's gonna do and how he does it, and just what he gets. Almost like he shouldn't be getting those things, but he does. But I mean, Mr. E, once he gets the ball rolling, like, he's so hard to stop. It's like once he gets the first hit, where it's like, that's a hit at your confidence. Then he gets a second. Now I'm in shambles. Now he gets the third. It's like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do?
Hey,
here?
when you die from an F tilt on the ledge of the stage, I mean, that's never a good feeling for the majority of the match. So
yeah, him and MKLeo's mastery of like the tipper zonage is just like so ridiculous. Whether it's a jab or a forward tilt, and then of course the F smash spacings. I mean, they always get them. You know, I mean, that's why they're top tier marts, if not the best two in the world.
it almost seems like Mr. E never has an off day with this Marth gameplay. Like, sometimes we see the Marth mains kind of dual main, Marth and Lucina, they kind of switch back and forth, but he's just always on the money. I just don't know how that gentleman does it.
A true soloist, for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
Mr. E is just so... there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
Shout out to Mr. E. Yeah, he's just so calm and collected and a chill guy, you know, and it really transfers into his gameplay because he has nerves of steel, you know, and he's one of the players that you don't really see his will break. You know, one of the more popular, you know, players like Larry Lair, people always referring to how he just doesn't grimace, doesn't budge. And I think Mr. E has the likes of that. And of course, moving into Echo Fox MVG, MKLeo, fresh off that Genesis 4 win against DNG Kamame, who, you know, in the recent past has been, you know, questioned as to, he had second at EVO 2016, but since then he hasn't really come back to that sort of status, getting 25th at Genesis 4 and then 13th at Tokaigi 2017.
Yeah, those are not top 8 placements, but as we saw yesterday from Kameme and crew battles,
oh my God,
he can come back from anything. And keep in mind, this is a best of 5. Tokaigi, for example, had multiple best of 3s. Pretty much all of the sets he played were best of 3. He's going to have a best of 5 match against MKLeo, so he will be able to possibly adjust to what MKLeo is going to do. But MKLeo, again, is the person that some people are deeming to possibly be the best in the world, even though Zero still definitely has that title.
Isn't he your boy?
Today. I don't know what's going to happen here. I doubt there's any Mega Mans in Mexico for MKLeo to practice against. However, one thing I do notice about MKLeo is he doesn't necessarily focus too hard on the matchups, but more so on the neutral.
That's why he's a fundamentalist. And as you saw there in the ABC graphic, I mean, he has those building blocks of just a true fundamentalist. He understands the ledge pressure, understands the offstage pressure, the advantage state, the disadvantage state, the 50-50s, the frame traps, the everything about the game that matchups then come secondary to, you know, because matchups don't determine the set. Neutral does.
Absolutely.
How you push that leverage. I mean, it's insane what he does. And, like, I'll never forget, like, how he took Larry at 2GGT Zero Saga. Like, just completely turned in the table. And it was just like, just fundamental after fundamental, the spacing, everything about him. And it's like where he can say that, yeah, Martha's top 5.
Yeah, he's actually a quick learner. As a Link man, I was actually expecting this tournament to be like Link's breakout. Like, yo, he's in the wrong spot on the tier list. And what I mean by that, I was actually on the Gucci stream yesterday, and I had the opportunity to watch MKLeo play this Link from this other region. And, from the start, it really looked like the Link had the download on MKLeo. I know how to fight Cloud. I understand your play style. But just somewhere along the course of the match, MKLeo just said, you know what? Wait a second. I'm MKLeo. I could undoubtedly be the best in the world. I got to go ahead and download the Link one time, and that's exactly what he did. And his solid neutral was just really applied to that match, and he ran away with victory.
Yeah, and speaking about Links that were supposed to break out, I was really upset to see that T did not make top 48, top 32. He was the only Japanese that actually didn't, even though he was in the crew battle. And the person who wasn't in the crew battle, Terranito, actually did make top 48. So it's kind of ironic, maybe karma for not putting him on. But I don't think those things were arranged politically. But again, all 10 out of the 11 Japanese are in top 48. So that's awesome. And then moving on to the next match, because we're midway here, people are starting to gather in. People are filing in. The venue is very nice for this tournament. It's going to be explosive and packed. We're going to have Void and Su. And Su, of course, being above his seed, he upset Tweak, and now he's going to be against CLG Void.
2-0 on Tweak, too.
I know.
That's wild.
And, with Sheik and Lucario, I mean, that's scary. That's scary only because of Lucario being Lucario and also Sheik being so light. And with, Void being so offensive and explosive, as you see down on the bottom, Su just takes it with being so agile. We saw yesterday in the crew battle, he did have a tough start against Tweak's DK, and he wasn't able to show off the agility that he normally does, but his, movement and how he just makes it so that his back airs connect and, how he uses his, aura and stuff is just so, it's just the mastery of it is what puts this Lucario above the other Lucarios. When you're talking about, the Days and the Sus, both of them just leading the Lucario metagame. So I'm excited to see Void and Su for sure.
I'm definitely excited. It's just going to be tough. Void's really good. I'd say the best Sheik at getting early percent KOs. Getting the setups like neutral air into up smash, I have a good feeling he might be able to be fine. But if he does not, that's where he's going to put Lucario in a rage, and he'll have a lot of trouble. He
needs to close it soon. I mean, a 4th at Tokaigi 2017. Su, of course, did amazingly. And then Void, of course, with a 3rd at 2GGC Genesis Saga, a 9th at Genesis 4, and a 7th at 2GGC Midwest Mayhem Saga. He's been consistent, so I want to see another top 8 at this tournament as well. But then another person who went in and above their seeding, we have In Control Seagull Joe against Shuton. And yesterday, I love seeing him play in the crew battle. Shuton he was very entertaining. What he was able to do, taking 3 stocks in the crew battle, it was just amazing. He's so, his management of Pikmin, just how he uses everything, it's just what character is he playing sometimes?
He made Olimar look amazing. The way he would pivot grab people and do his
so
combos.
Technical.
Yeah, it's so technical. You would expect to see Olimar, expect him to be boring. And
he's aggressive.
Yes, he's aggressive. Olimar, what is he doing? He's supposed to run away.
Yeah, these are people who put the characters in a different light that goes against the stereotypical, it's going to be a campy, boring, zony type game. No, Shuton's in your face with, all the Pikmin and his friends. He's in your face, And I want to see how Seagull Joe manages the spacing and the safety that Sonic provides him so that he can sort of defend against the Pikmin, defend against all of that.
I've always really appreciated Seagull Joe's defensive play style, and that might be a touch all the way back into the Brawl days. He might have just carried that over into Smash 4, but at the end of the day, offense sells tickets, but defense, that wins games. So I put my money on Seagull Joe there.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, the safety that he has that other characters don't, that you see sometimes struggle against, the Pikmin. We saw Rich Brown yesterday against him. With Mewtwo being floaty, yes, he can be a little tricky in his maneuver, but, having that, acceleration, de-acceleration is just not there. But with, Seagull, I want to see him, spin dash in and out of the Pikmin, get over them, make him waste his Pikmin, because that's where he's going to pull the leverage in that matchup, having him not fully in control of the set.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, of course, the last one that we're going to talk about is 2GG Komura Kiri, the crew battle winner for Japan yesterday. And MBG Salem.
Oh, this is a rough one.
The Cloud Bayonetta matchup, which we've seen classically with Tweak and Salem. Right?
Salem plays against Tweak a lot. He has a winning record against Tweak, even though Tweak has won, I'd say, at least 1/3 or more of the sets. But Salem also pretty much stays with Mewtwo King. So he has a whole lot of Cloud practice. But I'm sure Komonokiri has a huge amount of Bayonetta practice because there's Bayonettas everywhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
But we did see that struggle at Genesis 4. Despite, the whole scandal, I mean, there was a lot that happened that also led many to believe, like, is this a struggling matchup? Is this a matchup that he can take and learn from? Is this a matchup that he can grow from, And so, getting second at 2GGC Genesis Saga, 7th at Genesis 4, and 3rd at 2GGC Midwest Mayhem Saga, Komonokiri's sitting pretty. So far this season, all top 8 placings, that looks great. That looks great on any resume.
He's been doing a lot better this year than he has last year. He's finally showing why he's ranked #1 in Japan. And I feel Japan trusted him. I feel that's another reason they put him last in the crew battle. So he was like the final
ringer.
Yes, he was the final ringer where it's like, oh, if we're losing, we'll just put in Komonokiri. He'll bring it back. And that's exactly what happened. And he played Salem in the crew battle. I actually thought Salem would, at least take 1 stock, but Komo did take that stock. So good stuff to him.
And we had a cinematic finals where it was like 3 stocks to 3 stocks. Team North America with Nairo versus Team Japan with Komonokiri. And he won it with 2 stocks remaining, which, I mean, that's phenomenal for sure. But we do have Salem with only so far 1 major showing this season with a 25th at Genesis 4. So is this tournament going to be the one where he redeems himself for the rest of the season? Because people talk about the fact that Salem is arguably, top 10 in the world, top 10 in the potential that he has. But I want to see that potential actualized at this event. I want to see him overcome Komonokiri and the others that are left in his bracket, because this bracket's only going to get more ridiculous because this is only the first wave.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I look forward to seeing him. All these matches will be streamed too, right?
Yeah. The whole day is going to be spent streaming. We
right
should
here.
be, on twitch.tv/Unrivaled Tournaments.
Let's go.
We're going to have an entire day of streaming these amazing events. The crowd's all here. The friendlies are pretty much going to stop to just watch these players do their thing, because so many people came to see a high-level Olimar, a high-level Sonic, a high-level Cloud, because all these players with their star power just attract so much in the community. So once again, this has been the PG Stats Analyst, brought to you by Global Suar. We have Keitaro and New Age Rob the Dutch. It's been a pleasure. I think we're in for a show for sure. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We're going to go ahead and cut to the commentators for the day. We're going to have Bot Nightwing and his partner, which totally just slipped my mind.
In control.
And in control, VGVC Logic, my fault.
Yeah.
They're ready to give you a good show. We're going to go ahead and cut to them. So stay tuned. We're going to be in for just a hell of a time. So take it easy. See you then.
Thank you, guys.